This is the true story of a woman named Anna. She had a strange dream, but it didn't feel like just a dream. It felt like a warning. And that warning may have saved her life. Anna was in her 30s. She lived alone in a quiet town. One night, she had a dream that felt very real. In the dream, she was walking down a street. There was a greenhouse on the corner. It looked old and quiet. Then she saw something move in the window. A shadow passed behind the curtain. The door slowly opened, but no one came out. She heard a whisper, "Don't go in. Don't trust him." She turned around. No one was there. Then a man stepped out of the greenhouse. He looked right at her. His smile was cold. His eyes felt empty. He held out his hand like he knew her. She felt scared. She ran away. Then she woke up, shaking, sweating. The next day, Anna had to go to the other side of town. She took a new route. As she walked, she saw something that made her stop. There it was. The greenhouse from her dream. Same porch, same windows, same shape. She had never been there before, but she recognized it. It was real. A few days later, Anna was out shopping. She accidentally bumped into a man. He smiled and started a friendly conversation. He seemed normal at first, but then he said something that made her feel cold inside. He told her he lived in the greenhouse on the corner. Her heart dropped. It was the same man from her dream. Same voice, same face. She got scared and left quickly. Anna couldn't ignore it anymore. She went to the police. She told them about the man, the house, and her dream. She gave them his name and where he lived. To her surprise, the police listened. They told her the man was already a suspect. Another woman had gone missing recently. She had last been seen near that house. He had invited her inside, and she was never seen again. Now, thanks to Anna's report, they had a reason to search his home. The police searched the greenhouse. What they found was disturbing. Photos, ID cards, and one belonged to the missing woman. In the basement, they found signs of a struggle. The man was arrested. It turned out he had changed his name. He had a criminal history in another state. Thanks to Anna's warning, he was caught. Anna had never seen that man before. She had never been to that street, but somehow the dream showed her everything. Before she met him, before anything happened, the whisper in the dream told her to stay away. She listened, and that decision saved her life. So, what was it? Was it just a gut feeling or something more? Can a dream really protect us? Anna still doesn't know why she had that dream, but she believes it warned her for a reason, and maybe it helped save other lives too? Because sometimes a nightmare isn't just a bad dream, it's a warning, and sometimes it can save your life. My name is Teresita Bassa. I was murdered by Alan Showery. He came to my apartment to fix my TV. Then he attacked me. He stole my jewelry and gave it to his girlfriend. Remy didn't remember anything afterward. Her husband was terrified and convinced that something supernatural had just happened. They didn't want to go to the police at first. Who would believe them? But the dreams kept happening. And Teresita's spirit wouldn't stop. So finally, they told the detectives. At first, the police didn't take them seriously. A ghost solving her own murder? It sounded ridiculous. But then they checked into the name Alan Showery, and he was real. He worked at the same hospital as Teresita. He was a technician. And yes, he had been to her apartment before. That made the detectives curious, so they went to talk to him. At first, Alan said he had never been inside Teresita's home, but after some pressure, he changed his story. He admitted he had been there to fix her TV. That matched the ghost story exactly. Then came the final piece. Teresita had said that Alan stole her jewelry and gave it to his girlfriend. So the police got a search warrant and went to Alan's apartment. They asked his girlfriend, "Did Alan give you any jewelry recently?" She said yes. The police showed the jewelry to Teresita's family. They confirmed it had belonged to her. It was the proof they needed. Alan Showery was arrested, Faced with the evidence, he confessed. He admitted to killing Teresita. He said he had planned to rob her. When she turned her back, he attacked. Then he tried to burn her body to hide the crime. The police were stunned. The ghost had been right about everything. The case was now in the hands of the court. Alan Showery had confessed to killing Teresita Bassa. He admitted that he went to her apartment, pretended to help with her TV, and then attacked her when she turned around. He stole her jewelry, tried to burn her body, and thought he had gotten away with it. But what he didn't count on was that Teresita's spirit would fight back. The trial was big news in Chicago, not just because of the crime, but because of how the case was solved. Reporters called it the ghost murder case. People couldn't stop talking about it. A woman had solved her own murder by speaking through another person's dreams. The court didn't focus much on the supernatural side. The real evidence, the confession and the stolen jewelry, was more than enough. Alan was offered a deal. If he pled guilty to murder, he would avoid the death penalty. He took the deal. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison. But here's the shocking part. He served only about 5 years before being released on parole. Teresita was dead. Her family was heartbroken. And her killer walked free in just a few years. But her story still haunts people today. How did Remy Chua know those details? Why did she say things she couldn't possibly know? And how did she name the killer so precisely? Some people say it was just a lucky guess. Others believe Remy was influenced by things she overheard. But many still believe this. Teresita Bassa's spirit refused to rest until the truth came out. Even now, more than 40 years later, the case of Teresita Bassa is one of the strangest in history. It's been featured in books, TV shows, and documentaries, not because of how she died, but because of how she solved it from beyond the grave. This is the true story of a teenage girl named Paula. She had a dream about a murder. The dream felt so real and so scary. It helped Assad solve a real crime. Some people say it was just a coincidence. Others believe it was something more. But what happened made people question what dreams really are. In the early 1980s, Paula lived in a quiet town in the UK. She was a normal teenager. She went to school, had friends, and didn't believe in anything strange. Then the dreams started. Every night, she saw a woman crying and scared. The woman was trapped in an old gray apartment building. She looked hurt and terrified. In the dream, Paula heard her whisper, "Help me. He's here. Don't let him hurt me again." Paula didn't know who the woman was. She had never seen her before, but the fear in the dream felt real. There was a man in the dream too. He had a deep voice. He always looked angry. Sometimes Paula saw him pulling the woman by her hair. Then everything would go dark. She would wake up shaking. She told her parents, but they thought it was just stress. They said nightmares were normal for teenagers. They told her to sleep more and not to worry. But then something happened. One night, Paula was watching the news with her family. There was a story about a missing woman named Susanna. Her photo appeared on the screen. Paula froze. It was the same woman from her dreams. Same eyes, same face, same sad look. The news showed the last place Susanna was seen, an old apartment building at the edge of town. It looked exactly like the one in Paula's dreams. Same windows, same bricks, same layout. She realized this wasn't just a dream. It was something real. The next day, Paula told her parents again, but this time in full detail. She described the building, the woman, the voice of the man. She even described the rooms inside, though she had never been there. Her parents were shocked. There was no way she could know all that. They took her to the police. At first, the officers didn't believe her. She was just a teenager talking about dreams. But when she gave a very specific detail, they paused. She said, "There's a red door on the 3rd floor. The paint is chipped on the left, the metal number is rusted. That's where she is." That exact description matched one apartment in the building. It was a place the police hadn't searched yet. They got a warrant and entered the apartment with the red door. Inside, they found signs of a struggle. There were blood stains under the carpet, hair strands, and in a locked closet, one of Susanna's earrings. Behind some loose boards in the wall, they found Susanna's body. She had been murdered and hidden there. The man who lived in that apartment was a quiet janitor. He was arrested later that day. At first, he denied everything, but the evidence was too strong. He finally confessed. He had been in a relationship with Susanna. They had a fight, and he killed her. Then he tried to hide what he had done. He never thought anyone would find out, but Paula saw everything in her dreams. The police were shocked. She had no link to the victim or the killer. She had never been in that building. Still, she described it all correctly. Even the small details matched. Some people said Paula was psychic. Others said it was a lucky guess. But even the police admitted it was hard to explain. Paula didn't want fame. She didn't like attention. She just wanted the dreams to stop. And after the police found the body, they did. No more nightmares. What are dreams really? Are they just thoughts or are they something more? Paula's story is still remembered today, not because she wanted to be a hero, but because one terrible dream led to the truth and justice. This is not just a ghost story. This really happened. It's one of the strangest and creepiest cases ever recorded by police. A woman was murdered in her apartment. There were no witnesses, no suspects. The case went cold. Then, weeks later, her ghost came back, and she told someone who killed her. This is the terrifying true story of Teresita Basa, the woman who solved her own murder from beyond the grave. It was a cold night in Chicago, February 21st, 1977. Teresita Basa was a quiet, smart woman who worked as a respiratory therapist at a hospital. She lived alone in a nice apartment on the 15th floor. That night, she wrote a short note in her journal. It said, "Get theater tickets for AS. That's it. No warning. No sign of what was coming." Later that night, her neighbors smelled smoke coming from her apartment. They called the fire department. When firefighters broke down the door, what they found was horrifying. Teresita's body was under a burning mattress. She had been stabbed in the chest. She was naked. Someone had set the fire to destroy the evidence. The police began an investigation. There was no sign of forced entry. Nothing was stolen except for some jewelry. No fingerprints, no clear motive. Everyone said the same thing. Teresita was kind. She didn't have enemies. No one could understand why she was killed. The case went cold, until something strange happened. At the same hospital where Teresita worked, there was another therapist named Remy Chua. She didn't know Teresita very well. They worked in the same place, but they weren't friends. A few days after the murder, Remy started feeling uneasy. She thought she saw Teresita in the hallway, but when she turned around, no one was there. Then, the dreams began. Night after night, Remy saw Teresita in her sleep. In one dream, Teresita stood at the foot of her bed and said, "Someone killed me. Someone I trusted." Remy woke up shaking. She tried to ignore it, but the dreams kept coming. And then, one night, Teresita gave her a name. Alan Showery. Remy had no idea who that was, but soon she would find out. After hearing the name Alan Showery in her dream, Remy Chua was scared. She didn't know what to do, but things were about to get even stranger. One evening, Remy was sitting in her living room with her husband. Suddenly, something took over her. Her eyes rolled back, and she started speaking in a different voice, It wasn't her voice, it was Teresita's. Remy's husband sat frozen as he listened. In that strange voice, Remy said,